I am Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susie.
And we're paranormal specialists who live in the most haunted city on earth, Savannah, Georgia. Every day is Halloween in our line of work, so join us as we spin true tales of haunts, murders, and disturbing Savannah history. I'm Madison.
I'm Chris.
And welcome to the most haunted city on earth. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the most haunted city on earth. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susie.
And I'm JT Timmons.
And welcome to the final installment of Hulaween.
Hulaween. Hulaween.
So
y'all got so good at that.
We practice. When you were blinking, we practiced.
Right between the time that we said this is the last one.
Yes, we practiced. So today's episode will be a From One to Wicked on The Night Marchers.
The Night Marchers. This is the one that all the Parajunkies have been asking for.
It's got to be the most famous.
It is.
Hawaiian ghost story.
That's why we saved it for last. That's why
entities.
we saved, yeah.
It is. It is definitely very interesting and honestly a little terrifying. And when we're filming this is before JT and I are in Hawaii. So I'll let you know if we encounter these night marchers, because we will actually be in an area where they are said to be found. And we'll talk about some of the other areas.
Remember, dive to the ground, plug your nose in your ear, and close your eyes.
As tight as possible. Yes, we'll talk about that. So,
okay. All right.
Yes.
Cool.
So before we get into that, though, JT, you want to thank some Parajunkies for us?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm thanking all the Parajunkies again because I don't have my list up once more.
Huzzah! Huzzah! If you're a Parajunkie, kudos!
Thank you
so much.
Yes.
You're the reason why we are succeeding.
Yes, and by this point, if you're listening to this, we had already discussed Morgan's Corner. So definitely go back and join us on Patreon so that you could see all of the fun that we had there and things like that. So
you're actually going?
Part 1 and 2.
We are actually going.
We're going to Morgan's Corner.
Okay.
Yes. So
where hundreds of people have died.
Yes.
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 So
we will have the Hanging Man.
yeah, the Parajunkies get to know that one. But
Oh, yeah.
well, at least the ones who are watching us live stream. But anyways, so anywho, into the Night Marchers. So.
Oh, wait, real fast. We got some comments from the live stream before we jump in. Don Nielsen gives the Kasha a 1.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yep.
Yep. Lauren Nautical says, I give Kasha a 1 for Wicked and 10 for fun.
Yes.
There you go.
I agree with that.
EO Serenity says, never underestimate those hippos. LOL, they might be cute, but they will tear you up.
That is the fact.
I mean, how can you look at
They're
those?
responsible for more human deaths than lions every year. Absolutely.
And then said, woo, the Night Marchers, best ghost legend ever.
Yes.
Nice.
This is such a popular,
It's a infamous
thing.
sort of thing.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
So this is exciting.
I would say that if you're going to know any ghosts from Hawaii, the Night Marchers would probably be on the top of the list of like casual knowledge. Okay. Because it is like if you did the, ghosts from 50 states. Yeah. Those would be, in my estimation, would be the ones that you would see, first and foremost.
Sure.
It's true.
Cool.
So, what are they? They are a procession that has been witnessed by Hawaiians and non-Hawaiians from all different walks of life. They don't care who you are. If you are there, they will just keep on going. They are kind of an omnipotent sort of thing, if you will. The Night Marchers hold our attention as their deeds are recounted in private and public settings. However, the question always becomes, who are the Night Marchers? Well, there are different types of night marchers. Now, these are all very, very Hawaiian names. So I tried my best to find pronunciations of these to get them
very difficult.
Yes, I tried my best to find pronunciations of each of these so that I get it as close as possible. But please do not rip me apart for it if it is, if it's a little off.
Disclaimer.
So the first type, the Oye. Then there's a Nahua Kai Kapo. There is a Hua Kai Po. night marchers and spirit ranks. So there are many different names for them, but each name refers to the same ghostly procession. So it really just depends on what region of Hawaii you are from. And
that should tell you how widespread it is.
Exactly.
If there are this many interpretations or names for them. Yeah.
Exactly. So the Oye, comprised of a great number of spirits. The term is generally used to mean a procession, so more than one, of souls of the dead. So by that definition, a person will never see a singular night marcher. You're only going to ever see a army of them, basically. A warrior alone would otherwise be just a lapu or ghost. They are a group of warriors marching in death in a haunted procession. Their announcement strikes fear into the hearts of those who bear witness and comes in several forms. So the sound of the pew, which is a conch shell, the pounding of distant drums getting closer, the music of the nose flute, the sound of stomping feet, a line of torches, which seems to be the most common first indicator of them coming, is you'll see just light out in the distance. And the torchlight will be traveling along a path. So one might even feel the earth shake or catch the scent of sulfur. It's always sulfur. But I think like the sulfur thing comes with, just them being dead.
Yes.
So
absolutely.
Demons don't own the sulfur thing anymore.
They don't own it. They don't own it. I think that's just the smell of the spirit realm in general. So,
and some people actually think that it is the friction between the spirit realm and our world. When something passes through, it creates a friction of the two worlds, and that scent is sulfurous.
So the veil has a smell, huh?
It's not the veil as it is the clash of the two.
Oh, I heard that.
So some have said that they have witnessed a column of mist moving across the land, and if you are in their way, you should run. If it is too late to run, you must lay prone and cover your head, shut your eyes tight, plug your nose, plug your ears, and chant.
Continue live streaming.
Just set up the camera. Don't make sure you have a tripod.
You have to chant your lineage and pray.
Good luck.
Right. Good luck if you're not from Hawaii ancestrally, because,
get on genealogy.com now and get that list.
Right. And pray that
it's be like England.
And they're like,
it's like, son of Gene and Yunsha, grandson of Pearl and Larry, great grandson of.
But yes, so you chant your lineage and pray that an ancestor walks among the dead to speak for you.
Oh, that's smart.
Oh,
yeah.
That's super smart.
My Mimi gonna take them down now.
Well, she's not going to be in a procession of Hawaiian ghosts.
Oh, I thought you meant like your ancestor comes and says hey,
one
y'all.
of the night marchers. You're hoping that one of the night marchers is a family member.
Oh,
and they'll speak for you.
They'll speak for you.
Yeah.
They'll be like, "Don't kill that one."
Okay, I thought my Mimi was the one speaking for me.
No,
never mind.
Mimi ain't doing anything in this situation.
If she was, they'd all be like, "What's she saying? I don't know. I don't speak that language."
Exactly. Yeah. So for JT and I's purposes, if we do encounter the night marchers, it is best that we run and otherwise get out of the way.
Get out of the way. Yeah, don't be in the way.
Basically,
yes, become a parajunkie to
witness our trampling.
To witness me holding still and live streaming.
And so if you have no one there amongst the ranks willing to claim the na'u, then your life is forfeit.
Ooh.
That's it's brutal.
It's just forfeit. It's like you're done.
That's why I said JT and I in particular, while we're there, if we see it, you gotta just get out of the way.
Put the camera down.
Move. And so with no ancestor to save you, then you may hear the call of Oyeya. This is the order to let him be pierced.
I don't think they mean ears.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, we get a dope nose ring out of the situation.
Nope, you get no nose ring.
It's a seashell.
It's a seashell.
Nope, you get a piercing right through the center of the skull.
Lovely.
Yeah, so
gracious.
So yeah, so
I promise to put it in selfie mode, Parajunkies, when that does happen.
Oh God, no.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Anyways, If you do not know the lineage of your ancestors, your next hope is to strip off your clothing and lay flat on your back to convince those in the procession that you are mad and therefore have pity on you and leave you intact.
So you could just act insane.
Yeah.
Which shouldn't be a big problem.
No,
for JT.
I know. I'm like,
They're like, what is he doing? He's mad.
He's mad.
That's a crazy person.
Or
they're like, what is YouTube Live? He's mad.
So, okay, they say that. But at the same time, in my opinion, I feel like that would make them want to off you more.
If you're mad?
Because they're like, oh, he's got like mad cow's disease or something.
Pitiful.
Poor, pitiful, he ate some bad conch. I don't know. Like,
although, knowing military processions as they are, they're like, if we kill him, he joins us. And then we have a madman in our ranks.
That is true. That is really true. But they're not allowed to stop. So
no, they cannot stop.
So I don't know how quick of the time lapse it is for them to make decisions like that.
Well, yeah, if you're just lying there naked, apparently they're like, nope, don't want any of that.
And some sources say you should rub urine on your body so that the hauke po find you so repulsive that they leave you alone.
As would anybody.
Yeah, they're like,
let's face it, you're not going back to the resort after that.
Exactly. That one makes a bit more logic to me than, the acting crazy, because that sounds more like just get rid of them. That's enough.
Although, I mean, that's equally crazy.
That is
like
crazy.
You show up and you're just smeared with excrement. They're like, oh no.
That is true.
Leave that one.
Leave that one away. So others say that resting your eyes upon the night marchers could signal a grim fate for the perpetrator, a friend or relative. So witnesses are urged to crouch low to the ground, play dead, and avert the eyes. Any sound or movement could invite a night marcher's deadly glance. These night marchers are set diligently upon their destination, are not considered spirits that will deviate from their path to haunt humans nearby.
Okay.
So they are not here to oogity boogity you.
No, they're not. They're not about the oogity or the boogity.
No boogities are here. So that's why they say, like, if you see like a soldier spirit wandering by itself, it's not a night marcher.
Right.
That is
also probably don't engage with it.
Don't engage with it.
It's not a night marcher.
Yeah, but it is not a night marcher. It is just simply a ghost in their standards. So they have literally no time to deal with you, which sounds on par for warriors. They're not here for the frills and fun.
And that brings about, the purpose of the march.
Right.
That it has such determination that it is so pressing that they cannot stop and they will not suffer a fool. They'll kill anything in their path. That puts you into an idea of responsibility. And we've talked about that before, that ghosts have jobs sometimes, and their purpose outweighs any awe and wonder we might have.
True.
So yeah, there are going to be spirits that cannot be deterred, and we should not try to deter them.
And something also that is noted if you are encountering the night marchers is that you need to be acting humbly. You need to be acting like you are revering the night marchers.
Sure,
You need to be acting like they are of importance, because if you are disrespectful or things like that, you are also going to get smited.
They're sort of reminiscent of like the Buckingham Palace guards,
right? Exactly.
The stoicism and this unwavering, but if you get in their way, they'll end you.
Did you ever see that video of the kid out front of Buckingham Palace or somewhere where there was a beefeater, and basically he wasn't moving and the beefeater was moving in the path, and he said, move, and like the kid was not moving. He just plowed that kid over.
Yep.
That's basically what I imagine.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's a great analogy, babe.
Yeah.
Like straight up, like that cleared everything for me.
Yes. So that's exactly what happened. Maybe you can insert that video here or something if possible.
If we find it. But it's true with most military procession ghosts, because the night marchers aren't the only marching regiment that people have run across. And they kind of have that similarity of they cannot be deterred, and they're very set on what they are doing.
It's true.
Although I think the night marchers are the only one that they say will straight up kill you.
Yeah. They will. They will straight up kill you. So night marchers are said to roam through very specific locations and are often recognized by their raised torches and repeated olis or chants. Although there have been a few scattered reports of daytime marches, these apparitions appear to be mostly active at night and are said to march on certain nights designated by the moon, which also makes sense. Yeah, right. Because most cultures operated on a lunar system before there was like the Gregorian calendar system and things of that nature. So that makes a lot of sense. And although the night marchers allegedly float a few inches off the ground, some locals tell of seeing mysterious footprints in their paths after they have passed. Areas that you often encounter the night marchers include Nuanu Pali, Lookout, and then you've got Ka'ava Valley, Kalihi Valley, on Oahu. Those are all on Oahu, and they are rumored sites. And the night marchers often go down trails in these areas, and nighttime visitors are encouraged to be wary. Other alleged night marcher sites include Oahu's Pali Highway, where JD and I are going, and that runs along the famous Kamehameha battle site, and nighttime visits, especially alone, are not recommended. The consensus seems to be don't go out in the woods at night.
Don't do it. And one of the clearest indications of like a culture's understanding of supernatural events is how they treat it. And when they're like, don't go, that means there's an accepted knowledge that it just don't do it. And so, because there's plenty of places, Savannah being one of them, come on, take a look at our ghost. This is the way to go. Woohoo. When they take it seriously, that's when you really have to be on your best behavior. You have to really approach it with as much respect as possible, because they're not trying to cash in or capitalize on it, because you could easily be like, take a night marchers tour, get on a trolley, let's go, we'll take a golf cart right down to the place, versus don't do this. Please don't go.
Just don't go there at night. They're not saying don't go in the day. They're like, please come during the day, as for what it seems like, but just don't go at night. Don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Anyways,
take all precautions.
The Kamehameha Schools campus in Kapalama on Oahu are over 100 years old and is said to also been visited by night marchers on many occasions. At Kualoa Ranch on Oahu's windward coast, night marchers have been spotted around an area that is said to house the remains of hundreds of Hawaiian chiefs, and are said to be responsible for a good many nighttime car accidents, which would make sense. All of the above that just was stated sounds very accurate. Right. So, of course, they'd be the most active near the burial site of the chiefs. Also, I'm sure a lot of those car accidents happened because the procession was coming at them, and then they were just like, exactly. That makes sense. At La Perosa Bay, an area in the Ahihi-Kinau Natural Area Preserve in South Maui, the restless night marchers are said to roam along the hardened lava landscape in search of mischief. And which I don't know if mischief is the word to use, but that's how they described it in this particular article. Maybe in that one region they're mischievous. Right. But the town of Konakake on Molokai is rumored to be a night marcher hotspot, as the remnants of Ili Ili Opai Heiau, a sacred temple site, are located nearby. Again, I can see why that would be a hot spot, because you're at a sacred temple. And then the Laie on Oahu was a city of refuge in ancient Hawaii, where criminals and offenders of the culture's strict Aikapu religious practices were held. Even today, spirits of soldiers are said to roam the outskirts of Laie in search of possible escapees. So they have a different tactic that they need, or plan that they need to go about. They have to find escapees. So that's even more dangerous, in my opinion, because anybody...
Because they might mistake you for...
an escapee.
And let's face it, you would be in many regards, a violator of their faith just by being there.
It's true. So some of the favorite nights to possibly encounter the night marchers would be Pokane. During nights of the Hawaiian god Kane, chiefs, chiefesses, priests, and close attendants march. And then Po'akua on the 14th night of the new moon, which is especially active. Spirits of chiefs, warriors, and Amomakua, guardian spirits, march between sunset and sunrise. So if you're going to get absolutely obliterated by the night marchers, hope it's the 14th night of the new moon, because then you might have a guardian spirit with them. That's going to be your better bet. First one, it's unless you're related to a chief or chiefess or a priest, then you might be out of luck on that one. Some characteristics of the night marchers to give you warning include heavy wind, rows of spirits carrying torches, alternating male and female rows, accompanying lightning and thunder, accompanying heavy rain or high surf, chanting and drum beating, unusually bright torches, game playing and revelry, and accompanying mist or fog. So those are your warning signs usually.
Gameplay and revelry.
So maybe those are the mischievous ones. Yeah.
Like the Top Gun volleyball teams out there.
Right. Now, I am going to share with y'all a few accounts of the night marchers that I was able to find in a very interesting Reddit thread that we can link below if you want to read through it, of a number of people who have encountered the night marchers. But these are just some of the highlights. So this one comes from a person called Night Riding RN. My cousin and her boyfriend and assorted friends were hanging out and partying out by Kaina Point on Oahu before they gated the area like it is now. They were boomboxing, so, this was back in the day. So,
they were boomboxing.
Yeah.
Like you do.
As you do. They were boomboxing, then they noticed other types of drums. Could it be another party? Nope, it was a train of torches coming down from the mountains. They quickly quieted down and turned off the lights and jumped back into their vehicles. They fell asleep and heard the procession pass towards the ocean. Whenever the other cousins bring it up, she starts tearing in her eyes and says she will never go there past dark again. She still remembers the chanting, drums, and crunching of cinders/sand like it happened yesterday. I've done some morning sunrise runs around the point when camping at Erdman. There are some deep, dark crevices on the side of the Waianae mountain range that probably didn't see any sunlight. I just keep close to the shore side and try not to look too deeply into the darkness. I'm sure they are looking from within the shadows.
Whoa.
Another person said, this is a longer one. Hold on. Got to scroll down to it. Where is your name? Oh, wash your clothes.
Not just a name, but a command.
A command. Wash your clothes.
Wash
Anyways,
your clothes.
Not me, but one of my kumu, who is well-versed in celestial navigation and other Hawaiian culture, told me that when he was younger, he and his friends were on the Big Island on some kind of Boy Scout type trip and had spent the whole day hiking down from the mountain and across the lava field. They set up camp, and when it was getting dark, they saw the torches far in the distance, where they had been earlier in the day. He said they figured it must be fishermen or something, but they watched the lights traveling towards them on the same path that took my kumu and his friends all day to hike. He said it took the lights 10 minutes to travel across the same distance that took them hours. At that point, they knew what it was and were told by the trip leader to zip themselves into their sleeping bags and think humility and humbleness. They heard the drums, and my kumu said he experienced an overwhelming sense of dread and a crushing pressure over his body.
Oof.
He said he passed out and woke up soaked in his own urine. I'm not much of a believer in the supernatural, but there was no doubt my kumu had experienced something. He was very serious, wasn't the kind of guy to exaggerate or joke around. He later died of suicide, and I always wonder if this experience somehow haunted him.
Whoa.
I also heard a story from a different Kumu who said that he witnessed some sort of night marcher party going on at Castle Hall at Ponahoa, school. He said sometime late at night when no one was around, it was like tons of loud banging, windows and doors opening and shutting, lights flickering, and then it all just suddenly stopped. This guy was more the type known to make up ghost stories and such, though. He would tell us a lot of really creepy stories, including night marchers, Pele, and her big white dog attacking people for bringing pork over the poly, etc. So that was Watch Your Clothes' story. And then this last one is Haku-chan Sakun, who said, I was living in the North Shore and was shooting sunsets, sunrises, and random videos for a surf movie. I was at the Hayao at Pupukaya. I shot some video and was about to leave, and my car was dead. I'm a former combat soldier, and I consider myself pretty aware and observant. As it got darker, I became really cautious. I was waiting on a friend to come help me out. I had 20K plus in camera footage, laptop and footage in the car. This sounds like JT.
Yeah, it is me. That's so me.
I locked the car and tried to stay still as it became dark. I could see in the failing light slight movement in the bush a few hundred yards away on the hill. A bit there, here and there, I could just barely make out movement. When it became pitch black minutes later, I started to see really faint bouncing and flashing lights. People walking through the forest with flashlights, I would guess. These lights would go off and on as they passed behind trees, and as they got closer, they turned off completely. I grew up in Colorado, and I spent a lot of time deep in the mountains. I also trained 10th Mountain Division at Basic. Yeah. I'm no stranger to the dark, the forest, or impending physical harm. These were people creeping up on me, stalking me. Whoa. At this point, I unsheathed a hunting knife, took off my flip-flops, and had all my gear in my backpack. I stood as still as possible in the black. I had used no lights in hopes my eyes would gain some night vision by the time something happened. I focused my eyes as hard as I could, and I started to see people, I assume, peeking from behind trees on the hill above the dirt road maybe 30 yards away. They, I hope, didn't know I knew they were there. I decided to move. I walked directly down the center of the road to get as far away from the hill where the road is cut on both sides. I walked as quiet as possible, barefoot, ready to stab. I could hear a lot of footsteps on both sides of me, getting closer and faster as I tried to just stay calm and accept that I was going to hurt someone before I went down. I heard people coming down the hill behind me onto the road, then footsteps on the road. I gripped my knife, and a short moment before I thought I would turn, I saw a massive white Suburban come flying out of the hill with all its lights on. It was my friend, big wave surfer, Jaws legend Dave Langer, in his big-ass space shuttle. I took off running and didn't look back. I loved the forest mountains being nowhere far away from the city and nature. I'll sleep with bears, lions, wolverines, and wolves around in a blizzard 100 miles from a paved road with a big smile on my face. I thought in Hawaii I could get the best of both worlds, ocean and mountain/forest. After that night, bleep, Hawaiian mountains. Possibly crackheads or forest-dwelling chronics. I don't care. That was creepy as bleep. A Hawaiian told me once that Hayao is Polynesian, not Hawaiian. Sacrifices and all kinds of crazy bleep. I used to love going to the Hayaos, the Hayos, I think is how it's pronounced. I grew up very religious, and I appreciate the connection between spirit and nature. After that, they're just dark, evil vibes all around me. True story, folks.
Goodness gracious.
So.
Oh my gosh.
That is the Night Marchers,
There's some great stories.
Yeah,
I know,
really
right?
solid stories.
I know.
We should just start
Reading
farming
Reddit
threads because people write in such amazing stories to Reddit.
They really do. It's like a massive thread. That's just like a couple of the stories that were really interesting. But that's the Night Marchers, y'all. So they are not to be messed with. No. If you're going to Hawaii in general, maybe just
be mindful.
Be mindful. Stay inside your hotel when it gets to be nighttime. Don't go out into the woods. Don't go out where natives tell you to not go. That's always a good plan, a good rule of thumb, if you will.
For sure. So now we got about 10 to 12 minutes to discuss them.
All right.
Yes.
So my gist of them is they're very dangerous. They are not afraid to kill. They are not afraid to injure you. And if you are not native of the island, it sounds like
you can almost guarantee that
you're gonna die. Probably.
You don't have a whole lot of resort to turn to,
because
your hope is that they take pity on you.
Exactly. So it seems
they don't seem like they take pity on anything.
No. So that's why
they're like pretend to be mad or smear yourself with urine. That's pretty extreme, right?
That's very extreme.
That's pretty extreme, but it still isn't guaranteed.
It doesn't guarantee anything, right?
You know?
Yeah.
And so
you just die humiliated.
Right.
Well, I smeared myself and they still killed me.
Exactly. And like it seems like all of those encounters that people had and were able to live through, it sounded like every single one of them deeply affected.
It deeply affected them. Yeah. You're telling me that a mountaineer got spooked enough to not want to go to a mountain. You know, I trained with the 10th Mountaineers. There's nothing that makes a mountain unwieldy, you know, and he's like,
nope, no more.
Forget that mountain.
Exactly. You know, and also just the fact that like there was one story where somebody ended up ending their life and the family seems to think that it had something to do with this experience being so traumatizing. Another one saying that they felt this horrible crushing sensation, which makes me wonder if they almost got trampled in a way, but they didn't.
Well, yeah, just the depression, of it going by. They passed out. They peed themselves, you know, and in that story, later took their own lives. Is that correct?
No,
is that the same story?
That was the one before that.
Oh,
so
that wasn't the tent one?
Yeah, this one was the guy who wrote it. The other one was about an uncle who experienced it. The guy who wrote it, he's obviously still alive, but he was saying that pretty much he just like has had weird stuff happening since, let's see.
Yeah, I think the Night Marchers are going to rank pretty high on my scale. Finally, we get a from 1 to Wicked that's worth its salt.
Right, it's true.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, you're right. The one that felt the crushing sensation was the one that ended up getting killed. Or killing himself. The one that I was thinking of was the friend who still goes running out there, like won't look in the crevices of the mountain because she feels like they're watching him or them. So I'm like, that's sound like it didn't become famous for no reason, I think, you know?
Absolutely.
And I don't think the natives would be so intense about it if they didn't genuinely fear someone's safety from these situations.
There's an interesting overlap too, is that we may not be dealing with ghosts at all, given their proclivities, given their strength, given their patterns of movement. These entities, whatever they are, have such purpose to suggest that they could conceivably be of that natural state along the Fae corridor.
Oh, okay.
You know, the concept being that you may not even be dealing with humans at all. You know,
you're saying Fae?
Well,
in that same
in
realm.
the same concept.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, because again, Fae as a blanket term, what I'm basically saying is these may be non-human entities.
Sure.
These may be the naturalistic protectors of the island. These could be,
Guardian
what we would consider to be demigods or gods themselves. You know, an army of these protectors of chiefs, and you know, there's a lot to the idea of this unstoppable, immovable force that permeate a large area with crushing pressure, with frightful demands, and with death, with killing people. You know, there is the question again: what is their purpose? Are they actually patrolling the island, looking for interlopers, looking for invaders? Protecting
they
the
gonna
island.
find a lot.
Well, that's just it. You know, it comes to this point where it's like their purpose may be protection. They may be
that's what I was going to
set
mention.
a point. You know, they have a duty.
Yes.
and that's what's uninterruptible.
Yes.
You know, because you go to Gettysburg, you'll see marching ghosts.
You are on the. I was just about to mention that. I was just about to mention that this is
even Fort Jackson
very,
here in Savannah has marching ghosts.
Yeah, this sounds like Battlefield. This it's just a weird type of Battlefield ghost that could be Battlefield entity.
Given the speed at which they maneuver, which gives them hyperhuman characteristics.
Yep.
Given the fact that they don't seem to have a specific area of operation, whereas a lot of Battlefield ghosts, Battlefield marching, is like you don't see the Gettysburg ghosts over in Philadelphia, or you don't see them away from the battlefield. That starts to like feed into this idea of perhaps non-human entities that are set on a protection bent, and maybe some ancient protection bent, sacred grounds, that kind of thing. So, this is the potency of it is the eyewitness accounts seem to suggest terror. B, death is involved. Death to the point at which there are precautions that they suggest you take, and drastic ones at that. The fact that you are supposed to, remove your senses, play dead, try to play insane, play the insane card, so that they take pity on you.
Act humble.
Act humble. Be humble. Be contrite. Think humble thoughts. Think humility. Think small, so that they don't register you as a threat, or B, worth the time to stop and kill you.
Yeah.
Right.
So these are all things that remark an ideology, a sensibility that is heightened, powerful, and unstoppable.
For sure.
I completely agree. And, I think a lot of it may have to do with the fact that that land has been so heavily touched by other cultures trying to make it into something that it wasn't intended to be. And so maybe that's why they're more active now, and why they're more widespread, and they're the most heightened around the really important areas, like where the chiefs are buried. Right. Exactly. Yep. And where the temple is, those are the places that they have to protect at all costs, and then the rest of it is just general protection. And it also makes sense that they are going to spare the people who are descendants of the important people, of the native people. So they're like, pronounce your lineage, or sorry, buddy,
So,
like, do you belong here?
Where are we going to be looking for them?
Well, we're going to be up in the North Shore.
Okay.
So we're going to look around that region. Maybe we'll talk to some people about it in that area, because there were some accounts of stuff happening in the North Shore. But also in the Poly Lookout Highway, which is where we're going to be. You'll have heard about it with Morgan's Corner, because it's literally that highway. So we'll talk about it there as well. But
cool.
Yeah. So yeah, we're making that hour trek out to that region, because that area is down. What would that be? I don't understand the ship directions. So the southern portion here, we'll be up here. Here's the island. We're up here.
Okay.
We're going down here to go to the Morgan's Corner and the Poly Lookout. So
cool.
Yep. So what do y'all rate it?
What do we rate
y'all rate the Night Marchers? I'm
in that 7-8 area.
I was thinking 8, but
I was thinking 8, and then I was like, I don't know if it necessarily deserves an 8, because I feel like 8 and up are reserved for almost imminent death, and I feel like there are a couple ways out of death with this one. And
I don't think death has anything to do with wickedness. I think it's intent. I don't think they have an intent of wickedness. Like,
they don't.
To me, death is not the worst thing that can happen to you with these entities. And as a matter of fact, I think death is a low bar to set as the thing that makes something wicked.
Really?
Absolutely.
I disagree.
Absolutely.
I think that
death is
torture's
merciful.
a 9 up, and then I think that a slow, brutal death is a 9 up. I would think death is an 8, and anything under that, you can get out of it.
Death is merciful. Death is quick in a lot of ways. And slow, torturous death, that'll bring it up. But it's about the intent. What is it trying to achieve? And I don't think it's trying to achieve something malicious. I think it's it's got a purpose, and so it's not being malicious. I consider wickedness to be a state of mind that wants to do damage for the enjoyment of doing damage. That's malicious to me.
Yeah.
Killing is not. Killing is, especially the older a spirit is, killing was a part of everyday life, and it was determined as, life was at a low threshold for a long time.
Sure.
But if you want to do like grievous harm, if you want to damage a person's soul, if you want to enact suffering for enjoyment, that to me is where the wickedness comes in, is when your joy comes from other people's pain.
Sure.
And that doesn't always
That's
equate
why I'm
to
keeping
death.
it under an 8. 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's what puts it in that 7-8 area, because the 8 notion is its lack of sympathy.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what puts it in a 7-8. 7.5. I'll say.
Sure.
Because that lack of empathy, that lack of ability to look at people and realize they're not threats, or realize that that they don't determine the worth of a person. They only see something in their way. And that is a wickedness to me, is disregard for people's, interest. Like, if you show up and you dig a grave and the ghost like kills you for digging up its grave, I don't consider that wickedness. But that was definitely a death. Somebody actually did die.
Yeah.
And there's lots of tales of, like Nostradamus, the tales of people who dug up and then died on the site. Sure. And it's like, well, I think the ghost killed them. It's like, yeah, well, you shouldn't have dug up their grave. It's like, if you do something that you shouldn't do and you die, I don't consider that wicked in that sense. I consider that, the bargain you strike.
Right.
And that's the same with these entities. The
we
bargain is get out of their way. The bargain is don't be in their way. And if you are in their way, get out of their way. But the fact that they don't seem to have any, that their purpose is stronger than your than your life.
Yeah.
Than your petty life. That kind of brings it past that up. Midpoint. They're in there because of the amount of damage that can happen to you without regard. Okay. It seems like they don't have any regard for you.
So Parajunkies are all given their ratings. Dawn says 6. Lauren says, I'm thinking 7 just because they're just doing their job as opposed to straight maliciousness.
Right.
So you were saying. EO Serenity said, I would rate this an 8 LOL probably, but would be 11 if you meet them in person. So many stories of people being traumatized after. Tiffany says solid 8. And then EO Serenity said, but definitely don't get in the way of the Night Marcher's job.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm gonna go with the 7. Solid. Rock solid 7. Nothing lower than 7. Sure. Maddie?
I'm gonna go 8 just because of the intense fear that surrounds these entities.
Damage done.
Yeah.
To the point where if you do encounter and somehow live, you're traumatized for life, and you may end up dying later because of the mental damage that is done from encountering these entities, versus the fear that you're encountering while you're with them.
The lasting effect of
Yeah. So I would go 8.
Yeah, I'm a 7.5, 7.5.
I think that's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are definitely not an entity you want to mess with. So if you do go to Hawaii, please follow the rules. Listen to the people who are there.
Be respectful.
Be respectful. Don't be idiots. And if you see torches coming from you, go back into the hotel. Don't follow the torches.
Be humble.
Be humble. Pee on yourself.
Pee on yourself.
But with that, though, y'all, thank you for watching today's episode. My name is Madison Timmons.
I'm Chris Susi.
And stay spooky, y'all.